Here's how to train if you want to build an impressive physique. Let's start with the muscles that people are going to notice right away as they encounter you. It's your neck and your upper traps. In everyday life, you're gonna be wearing clothes, I hope. So people cannot really see what's underneath, but they can see your neck. And if your neck is well built, they will subconsciously perceive you as a strong person. Just look at Brad Pitt, for example. Do you see what I mean? Or take a look at Jeff Nippard's neck transformation. How much difference it makes. Mike Tyson also had this huge 20-inch neck, because a strong neck will absorb impact and protect your spine. How do you grow and strengthen your neck quickly? Well, the cool thing is that your neck is not used to any external load during your regular day-to-day activities, so once you start training it, you will see progress pretty quickly. 3 sets of neck flexions and neck extensions once a week is pretty much all you need. Next, Tom Hardy built these huge upper traps for his role in the movie Warrior. I believe this example will show you how big of an impact upper traps can make to your overall physique. You can train them with heavy deadlifts, upright rows, shrugs, even lateral raises. By the way, did you know that top 3 most attractive physical features on a male body according to women are arms on the 3rd place, hair on the 2nd, and chest as the absolute winner. I don't know about the hair, but as far as chest and arms are concerned, I would come for advice to one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger. Let's start with Arnold's top 3 chest exercises.
The 3 exercises for chest that I have always done. The first year when I started training and the last year when I was training is bench press, incline press in different levels. So to start low, medium and high, and then flies.
Love it. Bench press is the king of the chest exercises. Definitely want to keep it in your training schedule if you can. You can also add some cable crossover variations or machine presses. Something that will allow you to go from this completely stretched position to here where your arms are closer together. So you can get that full chest contraction. You don't have to do all of them. Just pick 2 or 3 and stay consistent until you have mastered them. Now, look at the shape of this man's biceps. The 2 things that he talked about were always focusing on feeling that peak.
You got to be inside the muscle.
I feel the best right here in this area. Okay.
Outer head of the bicep.
Don't freak out when you see this biceps. Okay, I know it's the best ever seen, but Joe keeps saying we should concentrate, and I was concentrating to flex my biceps.
And also doing cheating curls once he would run out of strength. I have another video about Arnold's top 6 training secrets. If you're interested in that, I'll leave the link for you to watch it. You'll find it down in the description. But one thing is certain, if you want to grow your arms, you will definitely want to have at least a couple of isolation exercises both for your biceps and triceps. Some curls for your biceps, and for that horseshoe appearance of your triceps kickback is going to be just a beautiful movement. That's the best way to target the long head of the triceps because it allows you to position your shoulders back behind your torso, and that's really the only way to reach peak contraction of the triceps. On the other hand, to reach full tricep stretch, overhead extensions are going to be superior. So which one is better? Well, do both. Anyways, it seems like we covered the muscle groups that women find most attractive. But if you want to build a proportional physique, I suggest we move on to your back and shoulders to complete the upper body. Then we can move on to some less attractive body parts like legs, for example. Shoulders, we've got front, middle and rear deltoid. Overhead press and front raises will target front delts the best way. Side lateral raises for medial deltoid. Upper body pulling movements and flies for the rear deltoid. And if you want more details about specific training techniques or exercise variations, I've also got a whole video dedicated to that topic. You can check it out if you want to. Look, if you want to get a decent shoulders to waist ratio, yeah, you gotta build your shoulders, you gotta get lean, but if you don't have a well-developed back, None of that matters. You gotta open up those wings, and the best way to do that is with chin-ups and straight arm pull-downs. That will give you that V-taper shape. But what's even better than V-taper is the so-called cobra back. So besides working on back width, you should also work on back thickness. Pull-ups and pull-downs are the absolute winners when it comes to that. But you can also add some rowing movements there. Ideally go for the seated variation, but if you have troubles with lower back pain, just use the chest support. That will alleviate the stress from your lower back. Now that I mentioned it, if you want to build your lower back, most likely deadlifts are going to be enough. But if you are really into Christmas trees, you can add some back extensions there. Keep in mind that you gotta get super lean so that your lower back will start at least somewhat resembling the Christmas tree though. Now, just before we move on to the lower body discussion, let's talk about the six-pack. The easiest muscle group to build, yet the hardest to uncover. Most of the exercises will engage your core. Squats, military press, push-ups and so on. That's why you don't need much isolation work there. Just a few sets of the leg raises once in a while is more than enough. What seems to be the problem, however, is getting rid of the fat that is covering them. That's the topic for some different video because diet is going to be the key when it comes to that, and this video is about training. When it comes to training, cardio is the best way to burn extra calories. But if you can't find a way to effortlessly restrict your caloric intake, cardio ain't gonna do much. That I mean regarding the fat loss, but regarding your health, then yeah, cardio is gonna do a lot. Okay, we talked about the muscle groups that women find most attractive on a man's body. What about the muscle group that us men find most attractive? We all love nice looking glutes. And who's better to ask for advice than the glutes guy himself? This guy is doing God's work. He invented a perfect glutes exercise, the hip thrust. You can go super heavy on this movement, or if you're training at home, you can do single leg hip thrusts. You can even elevate your leg for some extra glute stretch. Squats will target your glutes very nicely. Glutes kickback, reverse, hyper. Keep in mind that you will end up with an underdeveloped outer side of your glutes if you don't have an exercise that specifically targets that area. In fact, most men do end up that way. Women don't. They are more cautious about the proportions of their peaches. So you definitely want to do some hip abductions to target this area. You can use machines, resistance bands. You can also do some frog variation, reverse hyper or something like that. Now, the easiest and the fastest way to add size to your legs is to work on your adductors. But you probably don't want to overdo it, otherwise you'll end up with your balls squashed. I suggest you just do a couple of sets of hip adductions prior to squatting. That will activate your adductors and engage them more during your squats. I think I made it clear by now that if you want a well-developed lower body, you definitely want to become good at squats. Not just good technique, but you want to get strong as well. I know it's a hard exercise, but that's why it's so productive. Especially if you want big quads. Mastering squats is going to be your #1 objective. But besides squats, other effective exercises that you might consider doing are leg extensions, leg presses, which are specifically created to target your quads, then Bulgarian split squats, which is probably your favorite exercise already. Anyways, those are the best ones. At the opposite side of the quads, we have hamstrings. And there is a misconception that squats are going to target your hamstrings. No, they're not. To understand how to target your hamstrings, let's take a look at the function of that muscle. It's knee flexion and hip extension. You need both of these movements in your training program to effectively stimulate your hamstrings to grow. That means you gotta do both deadlifts and leg curls of some sort. Deadlifts will have a superior stretch, leg curls will have a superior contraction. So that leaves us with one final body part left to target. Listen, just as when you train your arms, you'll train both biceps and triceps. The same way you gotta do with your calves and tibialis when training your legs. You gotta train both sides. But since most of the gyms don't have the machine for tibialis, you can do back-to-wall tibialis raises, or you can simply use resistance bands. Now, when it comes to building your calves, genetics can play a huge role. However, please consider two things. First is that your calves are so much used to external load during your everyday activities. Whenever you stand or walk, your calves are engaged. That's why you have to give them a little extra push and train them very frequently and with very high intensity. Most people don't do that and they just blame their genetics.
I can't grow my calves. I've tried. It doesn't work.
When I say bad calf genetics, I mean high muscle insertions. When you have high muscle insertions, that means that you have short muscle belly. In that case, you have this huge tendon that is attached all the way down to your heel bone, and you have a very short calves. And you can train your calves all day, every day, but this area is always going to look small. And people are gonna make fun of you. Ha, he skipped the leg day. So, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna act like Kenny from the South Park?
Okay, that does it. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
We are all born with certain flaws. You can either choose to complain that rules aren't fair, or you can work with what you got. Try to make the best out of it. The second choice requires strong character, but no matter what you choose, you're gonna pay the price. Listen, now you know how to train, but you will inevitably make mistakes. That's why I made a video about top 7 mistakes that are killing your gains. You can watch it here. If you found this video valuable, give me thumbs up, maybe even subscribe. See you there. Bye.